So, it's freehand. I had some problems with it. I originally had whatever that is in the photograph in the drawing, and I thought, why am I doing that, Tom? Why am I working so hard to fix something that I don't even know what it is? So I just kicked it out. All right, so he's got a hand there with nothing on his right leg, and he had this draped over his right leg before, made it part of his shorts, and so I eliminated something, and in eliminating, what if I do what this gentleman suggested, maybe that'll be best. When I eliminate, it just makes it a little easier for me.
So feel free to stand up and walk around and look at what he's doing to get a closer look.
Yeah, I'm gonna work with my back to you, so.
A lot of times we have one, yeah. I mean, a lot of times you just walk around and whatever, so. Yes,
Move our chairs though?
Sure,
pardon?
Can we move our chairs though?
Yeah. Sure, yeah. Hey, do whatever you want to here.
Hi, Alice. How you doing? Happy Easter.
How are you?
I'm good.
I didn't know if you were in town or if you were out of town. I didn't know if you were out of town.
No, I wouldn't miss this. This looks very interesting. That was a month ago. I was out.
Someone can do that, right?
Bad news.
No, I had injuries, but I always recover. I'm like an old dog that he can't
That's all right. Good.
keep coming back. Oops.
Okay, it was fun.
it's, if this doesn't work, I always have I have a career in comedy or whatever, stand up.
I have a pal just like that.
Talking, it's like,
Do you really?
that's for next time that's possible.
I have a pal just like that.
That's a good thing, that's a good thing, it's a good talent.
But there's so much issue.
I know.
Cappy, are you taking pictures for the newsletter?
Oh, I forgot.
You want me to
Tell
do
everybody to do that.
Should I do that? I'll
I'll
send it
take,
to you.
so anyone take pictures, can send them to me.
Are you going to put it on the website?
Yeah, or Facebook or wherever.
Put it on the website.
Just for you. That's my teacher. Yes. Joyce.
See what's gonna happen is when we get down here at the bottom, paint that shoe, I'm gonna end up painting that one, it's more beautiful than that one. It's gonna have a new I just wanna bridge that gap. Thank you.
I know. Good. I know you don't want to start it because you're afraid. This is not going to work right.
In the middle of this camp, every year there, 37 years. But I never make sure. And I know where they all. Yeah.
Did you ever forget your brushes?
Not the brushes. My brains, but not the brushes. No, I don't forget the brushes. When I can't find my cerulean blue and the tubes fell out in the car and they went on the floor, so I got a funny feeling when I leave I'll find my cerulean blue on the floor. I'll just have to go without it.
You lost your cerulean blue?
I think it's lying on the floor of the car.
You want us to run out and get it?
No, no,
Give him a different shirt.
We can check quick.
that's okay. Thank you.
Who was he looking for?
Cerulean blue brought in the car.
Was it in the car?
Well, my tubes fell out on the floor. I thought I got them all, but
Somebody can go get it if you
Sure, why
like.
don't we check?
no, it really, I'll be fine. Thank you though, thank you.
Keep coloring.
That's who you're looking to, right, Ellis?
Yeah, Alice might. Alice. Do you have any cerulean blue here?
Do
Do I have a what?
Cerulean blue. Here.
Not on my person.
Is there any in the,
What's the matter with you?
Do they have any paint?
is there any paints in the
They
room?
may have some.
It's okay, I'll be good, really.
That's fine.
It was good, but thank you.
Now, we have some.
I need,
They have some.
oh shoot, that way if this thing failed, I could have had an excuse.
Yeah.
And now I got no excuse. I was gonna blame it on the lack of cerulean blue.
You have a mixture of different manufacturers for your paints?
Well,
I see
generally,
you do.
I like Holbein,
Uh-huh.
but I have some Daniel Smith here, and I ran out of Cobalt, and I was lucky enough to find a tube of Utrecht. I've not used it. I don't know how that'll be. It looks all right.
So
But
you're using
Mostly Holbein.
mostly Holbein, but you do use some of the others too.
I will, sure. You know what? We're very fortunate today. We have a lot of quality brands.
There's a cotton brand, but cerulean.
Oh, that's a bad one.
Thank you.
Why do you prefer Holbein, or you just got used to that?
A couple of reasons. One is I like the viscosity, but that alone is not unique to a lot of other brands. So, but I like the caps. As I've gotten older, I've gotten arthritic.
Oh, the cap.
And these caps, unlike a cap like this one from Rembrandt, which is much more fluted, is that the word?
Yeah,
And it can be a little harder on the fingers. These are easy on the hand, so
that's why.
Pliers work.
It's not necessarily the paint itself.
pliers.
Pliers are hot water.
Yeah, I was gonna say hot water.
I've been using my teeth too. That
Or
works.
tea,
I
yeah.
have a flutter
Yeah.
that I got.
Which is why I still need a new crown.
All kinds of jars in the kitchen, in the.
Drinking it, ice cream there?
Okay, so I'm putting out fresh paint, and
That's what
I tell my students to do the same. Fresh paint.
these happen.
Sometimes what somebody will ask me, boy, or say to me, your paintings are so fresh. How do you do that? And I say, well, I start with fresh paint. Seems to make sense to me. And I squeeze out enough where I mean business, like I'm going to really use it.
Right,
Um,
right, but one, not one.
And since this is a free tube, I'm going to squeeze it all out.
What do you do with what's left over?
I keep it right there,
I mean,
and I keep a damp sponge in my palette, put the lid on, and that keeps it moist. There's another way you can keep it from drying out. Does anybody know what that is? Sure, Roberto knows. He's heard this before. Paint more often. Okay. Okay, so generally I start from the top.
But I sold 3 pieces right off the easel. If you do those cottages on the lake, or people want to have that because it's
So I will generally work from the top, and I like to work at an angle. If I don't, it seems to encourage more blossoms or blooms. I also like running paint. You might see that from some drips.
So if you're at home, you're sitting just like that?
No, I'm standing,
Oh, okay,
and my drawing board is at an angle.
okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll sit.
You could stand, we have things to prop up your.
I'm actually quite comfortable. Okay, so I liked the color when I saw this fella. I didn't like the shadow that was there, so if you look at my sketch, I've eliminated it. A couple of things also you'll notice if you look closely in my sketch, and it is a sketch, it's not a labored drawing, but it does have the big issues solved with regards to value. I also like to think about some connections. So I'm thinking about a connection between the back and the background, maybe the hair in the background, the foreground, maybe this, whatever he's sitting on, connecting to his shadow. His elbow looks like it might connect to his pants. These connections develop a sense of unity in the painting. It feels like it belongs together. I like variety on my edges, so there's an opportunity there for loose edges. I like the red hat, but I don't know if I like the yellow. I didn't draw in the little pattern that's on the hat. There's some sort of a pattern here. but I didn't draw it in because I wasn't sure I was gonna put it in, but if I put a little pencil line there, it'll remind me, if you want it, Tom, there's something you can put in there. So my palette is arranged with warm to cool temperatures. All my earth colors are here. Burnt sienna, burnt umber, raw sienna. And then as I move around the palette, it's the warms, the reds, the blues, and the greens. And even within those groupings, I am warm to cool. So there's the warmest of the reds is the cad red light. Moving left to right is the permanent red or alizarin crimson. Now, this used to be the cobalt violet, which would have more blue in it. But I ran out of it, and I've been playing with a carmine. If I was to keep the carmine, I would flip them because there's more blue in that alizarin crimson than there is in a carmine. Then I go warm to cool again, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, and the newly acquired cerulean blue. And then I have a sap green, an olive green, I should say, and a sap green, and a very cold phthalo green.
Is that a John Pike palette?
It is.
How long did it take before it turned yellowish?
45 years,
Wow.
44 years. I bought it in 77.
Wow, you got a good memory.
I really don't. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start in the hat, but I don't paint things. I paint connections. I paint, let's see the way I want to say it. I don't paint a hat, wait for it to dry, paint a face, wait for it to dry, paint so on and so forth. I like to keep moving, so we'll see where we go here. I know this is where that design is. I put it in. Well, there it is, or there it will be. This is the shadow side, so I'm going to be a little bit more forceful. With the red, as it moves left to right,
Are you using straight cerulean? Crimson?
over here, but then I move to the cad red with a little yellow in it.
Okay.
And there's some more there, maybe a little dash here. Now, there's some yellow in this. Design.
Where's Michael? See Michael?
Yeah.
Is that recording?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
hopefully.
There isn't a red dot, right? It doesn't.
It's on the top.
Yeah, it's not recording.
It's
She's recording. The
Uh-huh.
time's going.
Oh, it's up there. Okay. Sorry.
Nope, we're good. I know I've never recorded for any length of time. Who knows if I had a timer? Long story, we're taping today.
if it wasn't recording, I guess I'd have to tell that joke over again if you start to record.
Yeah.
You're doing the shadow.
I am.
Oh, yeah.
I used to not have to hold my hand, but. And I never used to need these either. If I'm gonna work closely. Oh my God, we don't red.
What'd you say?
They start out without seeing.
I didn't want red. I thought that was blue I was putting. Oh my God.
Now, will you do the whole thing in one sitting? Is that how you normally work, or do you work on more people?
Yeah, I like to know by noontime if I have a winner or not, so my approach to painting is very direct, and in so doing, I cover a lot of territory in one sitting. If I come back tomorrow to paint on a painting, unfortunately, it's a different painter who shows up tomorrow. It's not the same. And so I like to, if I can, finish a painting in one sitting. Now, you know, that doesn't always happen, and sometimes it could be a matter of hours I'm talking about, and it usually is, but of course today I'm bound by some time constraints, so I will move along a little quicker. I don't usually like to work so carefully in the beginning, but this area that I'm working in has some really neat things happening, which is why I spilled paint all over the beard. So I'm being a little more careful than I might ordinarily be in the beginning of my painting process.
Now, is that burnt sienna and raw sienna for the skin?
That's burnt sienna, straight out of the tube burnt sienna. And I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that sleeve he's got. That's green. And so I think I'm going to introduce some of that green in the figure.
Do you wait till the end to put your wash in the background?
And this time I will, but not always. But this time I will. But what I don't like about doing that is I don't get any of the connections that I was hoping to get. I have to work a little harder to get some connections to the figure because of coming after this is all dry to the background. So thought about a little bit of a softness here, and I think that I'll include some softness in the beard as it relates to the background. A little bit opening along the white part of the beard, I think. Somehow I'm going to have to incorporate these red spots here. So I'm going to transition from the red to a cooler temperature. I like the change in temperature as a means, partially as a means to invite a little more interest in the work.
Are there certain areas that you will glaze, like multiple layers? Or
Yeah, there
other areas that are you done with the hat?
No, I may not be done with it. So I try, that's a good question too. I try to be forceful. What's another good word?
Deliberate.
Assertive, so that I don't end up perhaps too far away from where I want to be.
I mean, personally too, I mean, you never know till you get to the end what needs another layer or
Well, that's a
needs
good
some
point.
lifting or, you know.
That's a good point, which is, I think the way around that, which I try to do, is I try to establish a strong dark in my painting as soon as can be considered reasonable, so that I have that to judge against.
Mhm.
I know. Yeah.
There's no paint on your shirt. You mustn't wear that shirt when you're painting at home.
No, I'm,
Or did you buy it?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
You're making them
Like
laugh.
Bob Ross.
Yeah.
actually, I'm trying to be very neat. I really am.
Go for it, Tom. That's
Usually,
even better.
I snap my brush, but then,
We can
there'd
clean
be,
that up later.
there'd be a problem with,
We'll find them out.
yeah, but you'll make me use it.
No, we won't. That's what vice presidents are for.
Watercolor, by its very nature, wants to move, right? That's why it's got water in front of the word. And I think sometimes, and I don't mean you folks here, but I use the word us, just as in a general sense, that I think that sometimes we work too hard at trying to tame it, if you will. And I like to watch it and let it, within reason, do its thing. Certainly I want it to do certain things, but I also want it to behave within reason, but I also want it to have the freedom to be what it is. And that is that it's watercolor. Like that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's right.
uh,
Dude.
I also want to remember that I'm creating a painting, and what a painting is to me, and this is real important because I'm here and nobody else is, so I get to say what I feel. But painting to me is about not only what I feel about this, but it's part of me. I like to think when someone purchases one of my works that they get a part of me. I used to be 500 pounds, there's so little of me left now, that's why I'm so
Wow.
skinny. No, I'm just kidding. But they do, I feel like they get a piece of me. I want there to be something here that's me, it's a part of me. And then it's about what I feel about my subject. And I think sometimes we spend too much time trying to make everything just perfect. And I think we miss an opportunity there to be expressive and to share something that lies within each one of us, and there's a uniqueness that we each have, and nobody else can have that. You get to have it yourself, and instead of running away with it from it, I like to embrace it. There's that connection that will come. Not dark enough.
What kind of brush is that?
This is a number 10 round,
What brand?
Escoda. It's a Spanish from Spain. It's a sable, so very expensive. They make a really nice alternative now, which a lot of brush companies are doing. And that is a synthetic.
I use the synthetic Escoda, and they're really a good brush.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent.
It is.
You ever tried the silver black velvet?
Yeah, I don't like the elongated point. I'm a little uncomfortable with that because it's just not something I'm used to, but the brush itself is very good.
Yeah, it's natural and synthetic, and it does have a point. That's for sure.
It's rather too long for what I'm accustomed to, but the brush itself is a wonderful brush. I think there's a lot of really good brushes out there that are synthetic today that I think offer us a nice choice.
Okay, yeah.
It's behind.
Yeah. But you don't wear these when you paint either. Do you ever use a spritzer?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just sort of a brush painter.
Yeah.
Just don't have a lot of fancy tools other than my brushes, and that's not a right or wrong. It's just what is. But I have no problem with those other. And I have them. They're in the studio, but they just don't get used that often. I bought a bottle of Pebeo at the masking fluid. Yes, thank you. And a big bottle. I bought a big bottle years ago, and the whole thing dried up on me because I never used it. I just never used it.
I buy them and they dry up. And then we get another one and keep that till it dries up.
They should be pretty smaller, little containers if you want to use them once.
Okay, so I'm going to reiterate that I usually don't spend so much time especially in the beginning. But this guy's face, the size of it is kind of small relative to the paper, as opposed to something like that. But his face is special. It's really special. So I wanted to. I wanted him to be special. I'm going to go one more time on that. On this side of the hair, of the hat. All right. Phew. Let's.
So, how do you decide on the beard, the shadow that you just painted below the beard on the side, the colors, which is totally different from the skin color of his face?
Well, first of all,
I mean, it looks fantastic. I'm asking how you decide to get to that variation.
I mentioned earlier that I don't like to
Copy it.
Yeah, let me back up. This is an opportunity for me to step away from literal.
Okay.
And then this is an opportunity.
Right.
All right. I don't want this to own me. All right.
Okay.
And this is a guide that says, Tom, this is what you were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you were thinking with regards to your value pattern. But it's sketched enough, loose enough that I can be interpretive in that process.
Okay.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, I like to exchange temperatures because I think that invites interest for our eyes.
Exactly.
So you're seeing some of that here. You're also seeing, me talking and not thinking. When I'm in the studio, that's not, I don't have that issue. I don't have to communicate with anybody. So there's a little bit of some of that going on here, and it maybe wouldn't take place if I was in the studio, and maybe I would have made different decisions, and in some cases maybe they would be better decisions. But there is some brushwork here that I think is interesting, and that's another thing. I don't want my brushwork to be monotonous,
Right.
where you're just doing the same thing, and I'm not a house painter. So I think of these things as all opportunities to help me engage my viewer and to invite some interest in the work. And I want it to be painterly because that's what I like to do in the process, and that's the look that I like at the end, is this painterly look. So changing temperatures, changing edges, being cognizant of my brushwork, all of these things, if so considered, can be part of the invitation to look at this. And it's one thing to attract some attention, to have someone say they want to look at something. It's another thing to sustain the interest. So these things, I think, are also part of what I like to do to, hopefully, to help sustain that interest, if there is any.
I can't really see your photo and stuff, but that highlight that comes down the forehead, over the white of the eye, into the cheek, connecting to the beard, that like streak.
Yeah, I didn't.
Did you plan
I
that, or
didn't-
did that just
Well, you
kinda
could look at
happen?
what I planned, but it didn't work out the way I planned,
Because I
did it?
just love it.
Oh, gee, well, I don't.
I'm like, oh my God, that to me would be why
But if you love it, maybe
I
it'll
gotta
stay.
go home.
Well, we can paint by committee. How many, you know?
Yeah.
No, so I intended a highlight there, yes, but not that.
But it's so cool. Don't touch it
But
till you're done.
but yeah, that's a good point. I'm not one to quickly go, oh my gosh, where's my tissue? I can blot it. And I commune with the painting, and I know there's a lot of things that I can do. And I can fix that easily, easily if I wanted to.
Oh, but it's
Pardon me?
Get in touch with your inner Bob Ross.
Yeah, the happy painter.
That's what I like.
You know, I kept saying,
Yeah, when it comes down.
just turned it into part of the shadow.
Okay, so I want to get something big going, so I'm going to start painting down and into the shirt.
Do you ever paint wet into wet?
I don't usually, but a lot of times what happens, and it may end up happening here, is that I put paint down, and then I'm putting something next to it, and they mingle, and then I do another brush stroke or so, and then in effect, I'm painting wet into wet.
Right.
You know.
I wish I could.
Okay. No, I don't like the color here, so I'm going to change the color.
So you can see.
Yes, I you buzzing. Did Jason?
Usually you just have two brushes going at once, Tom, or do you have
Sometimes I
multiple
got
brushes?
4 or
depending?
5. One brush at a time. One can sit there and one can work, but usually one at a time. But there's just a bigger brush work I wanted some over here, so I ended up picking up a larger brush, kind of a mop. And I'm not sure that, you know what, maybe I'll pick up where I left off over there in a minute from now. Looks like he's got some beads of some kind, so well, let's go to another brush. Now normally I would use clear water. Okay.
Sorry about that. Pandora kicked in.
Wants to go there, then I'm gonna let it go. I usually don't pick up a small brush this soon, but I just feel something here and I'm just gonna go and run with it. There's nothing wrong with indecision, just don't have your brush on the paper when you have it.
There, gotta write that one down. So your studio home, Tom, do you have a blanket or a towel on the floor, or do you work on a cement floor? Or?
I have one of those, I have a rug, so I have an old rug, it's a mess, but I have a chair that has wheels on it, so I have one of those big plastic things,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But my walls are just splattered with paint.
It's the painting itself.
I had an article written about me in a local paper just a couple months ago. And she was an assistant and wanted to be in my studio to talk to me. And I was equally insistent, you don't want to be in my studio. So we compromised and met in the middle. I met her at the local library. Okay.
How do you keep your paper from buckling?
You know, it buckles.
No, it just
But
buckles.
it's not a problem for me because of the way I paint.
Do you straighten it when you're finished, when it's dry?
It depends how bad it is. You know, you can put a piece of tracing paper over it and iron it. Put a hot iron on it, on the backside, and it can alleviate some of that.
Are you still thinking in terms of just warms and cools as you go?
Yes. I don't like the way that looks, so I had to give him something to tell you where his beard ends. Otherwise, it was looking like it went straight out here with that line. So I'm changing it. suppose I could put a shadow here. That's what I was thinking, I guess, at one point. Keep playing with it, and all I'm gonna do is muck it up. I'm gonna leave it and move on. Worry about it later. I should have left it alone, probably.
Did you take the reference picture?
Yes. Okay, not your shoes, this guy's shoes. Do we take a break or do I just keep painting? How does this work?
Keep painting.
You want a break, we take a break.
Cause I know, it's hard to,
You guys just sit and finish in one spot, want to do that? We've got another hour.
it's,
Our meeting won't take very long, I don't think.
I'm sorry?
Our meeting won't take very long, so.
Okay, so what you're saying, take a break? Is that what you-
We'll do the meeting after you're done,
I see, okay.
so.
No, we might have a complete reward. Thank you. How did you get it? Say it again. Huh? Say it again. How did you get it? Judy. No. Okay. She said she was invited, but she cannot come. Yeah. And she's usually do that. Yes. But this is what I understand. This is for teachers. No. I see. So Judy, not me. She's she's a member. Yeah, she's a member. And she invited, she said, she cannot, no, she said, I cannot come. So maybe somebody from you would like to come instead of me. She was the divine treasurer. She was the divine treasurer. And how long?
This is an oil painting brush. Actually, this is too bigger. Stiff bristles. Ordinarily, again, I would use clean water here.
Would you like some clean water,
Is there another?
Tom?
Please, if it's possible.
It is.
Let me get it for you.
Sure.
Yeah, you want to get some clean water?
Yeah.
There's other pumps in the,
Oh,
You got it?
they're already,
in the kitchen over there.
oh, already, looks like blood.
Do you usually work with two water buckets?
I like to have a fresh one handy. Yes.
That red blood.
Yeah.
And then these,
It's a little bit smaller, but the other one's coming.
What you do is pants and that's.
yeah.
Here's one.
Get a ring on it, pop it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The other one's coming back.
Just did one painting one time, it was just.
Throw this one up there too. He'll probably need
Yep.
that one too.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? A notification.
I'll jump on it all the time for the spam.
Yeah.
Stuff that creeps on your phone that you don't want, yeah.
That's the problem. Okay.
Not even on here.
It's about at this time in the painting that I typically will put a mat on it. And I can see a little more clearly where I might wanna go, because the map eliminates the extraneous distractions that are here around the sides of the painting. And
Do you have one with you, or?
I do. I do. Come in.
Let's go.
No, I'm just gonna see.
Did you erase it? Was that?
No, see, it's never, you never find it right away. There it is.
Excuse me, no, different way of thinking.
Right. Yeah.
A whole different way of thinking. That's kind of decent. It's the same thing we got.
That is fine.
Do you have a ready definition of painterly?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a definition of painterly?
Right there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
Thank
thinking
you.
too, but
No, that's a good question. I don't. I think, I don't. I never thought about that. I say the word, but when asked to define it, I'm not sure what to say.
not real. Not realistic.
There's a lot of words that have been thrown out there, that's for sure. Expressionist.
It's very interesting. The shape on the left, the white on the background, looks like somebody's looking at him with sunglasses.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Hey, it's great, look, somebody's looking at him. Those dark accents you're adding right now, is that a lot of ultramarine?
And I'm just pulling it from the paint that's in the palette. So there's a mixture of just about everything I've been using.
Yeah.
So you said you like to do a painting all in one sitting. Is there a certain amount of time, do you put that away for a couple of days or a week or 2 weeks? Do they go back and look at it?
When I feel I'm done, it goes on a mat goes on it and goes in my studio on a pin rail I have, and I'll let it rest. then I can, when I come in the studio with fresh eyes, you know, I'll critique it, how I feel about it. And those fresh eyes, of course, are priceless.
And my fresh eyes is like, hey, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
That's right. Sometimes but you know, as funny as that may sound, sometimes that's, you know, you've been leaning on it for so long and you get tired, your eyes get tired, and you need to get away, and you may come back and that may very well be the experience. Of course, the opposite can be true too. That what you thought was pretty good isn't quite what you thought.
What color did you use for this skin?
What color do you use for the skin?
Burnt sienna predominantly, but then it's gotten gray, and somewhat purposefully. I didn't want this hand to be too dominant. So what I'm doing now is deciding for myself by bringing in some cleaner color just how dominant I want that hand to be. And I like some of what's happening with the edges. There's some soft edges down here that I'm going to leave alone. So I'm just, like I said, I'm playing with it a little bit.
Which do you think is harder, a face or a hand?
Ooh, another good question. Probably the hand.
I like the
That's
sheet.
yeah.
For me, anyway.
Looks like desert boots.
I like what I know. Roberto, you probably heard me say this before, but I just think it's so good. John Sargent, you may know of him. He said a portrait is a picture of somebody with something wrong with the mouth.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I have found that it to be true. I struggle with the mouth. Well, I struggle maybe with all of it, but
Thank you.
Thank you. You might find that we're the only ones left after they get done moving out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the building next door to the center here.
Just totally. Charles Street. In view. Yeah.
This seems looser, I think.
I'm just going to stand up and get away from it because I might see something that I don't see right now. You have any questions anymore? I would consider this almost finished, but like I said, I'm going to put a mat on it and make my final approach, if you will.
This way.
Happy. Happy. Pull that up.
Oh, I wanted you in it.
You want me?
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
And then
Thank
did
you.
want to-
Sometimes I get a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
overzealous. And I think I did here.
I don't know, because I think that's from the fair. And it's a ribbon.
Soften the edges.
Turn it back.
Let's get that mat.
Use up your battery quite a bit.
I can't tell.
Very special, this whole house. And it's something that's- Yeah, we don't wanna move it, it's not just like where I go.
Okay.
That makes it, love that, yeah.
I like it about the map.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a new member. Well, someday, I hope.